Diary Entry Day 1. It feels surreal to put these words down on paper, but I need to document this new existence. The world as we knew it has crumbled into chaos, and I'm one of the lucky ones, or maybe unlucky, depending on how you look at it. I woke up to the sound of sirens blaring, a cacophony that pierced the early morning silence. My groggy mind struggled to comprehend what was happening until I glanced out the window and saw the city streets engulfed in flames. It was a scene straight out of a nightmare. Panic surged through me as I rushed to grab my phone. It was dead, no signal, no internet, nothing. The power had been cut too. I'd seen enough disaster movies to know this was no ordinary emergency. This was the end of the world. My first instinct was to check on my family. I lived alone, but my parents and younger sister lived just a few miles away. Racing through the eerily quiet streets, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. The air was thick with tension, and the smell of smoke hung heavy in the still, gray morning. When I reached their house, the front door was wide open. I called out their names, but there was no answer, only an eerie silence that seemed to mock my hope. I found my sister's favorite stuffed bear discarded on the floor, its head torn off. My heart sank. The house was a mess, signs of a struggle everywhere. I knew I had to leave, had to get out of the city, but the uncertainty of what lay beyond terrified me. My only solace was that I had prepared for this day, just in case. I rushed back to my apartment, gathered supplies, canned food, water, a first aid kit, and the small arsenal of weapons I'd accumulated over the years. As I loaded my backpack, I couldn't help but think of the countless survival videos and articles I'd consumed online. It was as if my subconscious had been preparing me for this moment. By midday, I had made up my mind. I couldn't stay in the city any longer. With my backpack slung over my shoulder, I left my home behind, a place that was once filled with memories, now reduced to ashes and broken dreams. The streets were a war zone. Abandoned cars clogged the roads, and the occasional sound of distant gunfire sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't help but wonder who was out there, and what they were fighting for. My instincts told me to avoid any contact, to stay hidden, and keep moving. My journey took me through the suburbs, where houses stood abandoned, windows shattered, and lawns overgrown with weeds. It was as if time had stood still, frozen in the moment of chaos and despair. As the sun began to set, I found a small, seemingly untouched house. I approached cautiously, but the signs were promising: no broken windows, no signs of struggle. I decided to take shelter for the night. Inside, I locked all the doors and windows, barricading myself in. I could hear faint groans and shuffling outside, the unmistakable sound of the undead. They were out there, lurking in the darkness. I rummaged through the house, searching for supplies. A well-stocked pantry yielded canned goods and bottled water, a small victory in this sea of uncertainty. As I settled in for the night, I couldn't help but think about my family. Were they still out there, fighting for their lives, or had they succumbed to the chaos? I tried to push those thoughts from my mind, focusing on survival. The night was long and restless, the sounds of the dead echoing in my ears. I knew that this was just the beginning, that each day would bring new challenges and dangers. As I lay in the darkness, I made a silent promise to myself. I would survive this, no matter the cost. I would find a way to navigate this new world, to endure, and maybe, just maybe, to find a glimmer of hope in the midst of the apocalypse. With that resolve, I closed my eyes, my weary body finally succumbing to sleep, and my dreams haunted by the uncertainty of the days to come.